Hi, I'm Susannah Malbreaux, publisher of the Southern View magazine. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing not only one dynamic person, but two. To my left is Archbishop G. Augustus Stallings, Jr. And to my right, most of you may know, this is Pastor John Wayne Milton. And today is the end of a wonderful celebration that's been going on for the past week. It's the 25th anniversary of Imani Temple. And what's so significant about having Archbishop Stallings here is because he is the founder, the brainstorm behind the Imani temples. So, Archbishop, could you just share a little bit of your insight into, what led you to start the Imani temples?
Thank you. Imani Temple was started on July the 2nd, 1989 on the historic campus of the Howard University Law School, when a number of black Roman Catholics had reached the point where the cup of endurance had runneth over. It felt that many of them, including myself, felt that the Roman Catholic Church was not responsive to the profound spiritual and cultural needs of us as believers. And through a long process of trying to navigate through a system that didn't accommodate us, we decided that the best way to bring about the desired result in our expression of Catholicism as people of color was to take ownership and control over our own destiny and create our own. And so that's how Imani Temple in Washington, D.C., the first Imani Temple got started. And then 4 years later, here we were in Lafayette, Louisiana, where a similar situation had happened, where the Roman Catholic Diocese of Lafayette was going to close Holy Rosary Institute.
Right.
A beacon of hope and enlightenment for so many African Americans who have become a part of the Roman Catholic Church. And when the local bishop wasn't willing to listen to the plaintive cries of the people who wanted to maintain Holy Rosary Institute, they gave me a call in Washington, D.C. And so we need to do in Lafayette what you did 4 years ago in Washington, D.C. And that's the genesis, or the beginning, of Imani Temple, number 49.
That's fascinating. It's a story that a lot of people have not heard. I have been affiliated with the Imani temples for about the 25 years. So I was there, not right at the start when you guys started it here, but maybe just a few years later. And for me, attending Imani Temple gave me a lot of nourishment, a lot of information that I had not known before. I got more into understanding Catholicism, the Bible, attended Bible studies, interacted with people. So it was really wonderful for me back then, as it is now, but it's changed over the years, and I've seen like several pastors come through. And now we're blessed with Pastor Milton, and we're looking to see what he is going to do just to help rebuild Imani Temple. And I say rebuild because when I started years ago, as I was just telling someone, it was standing room only.
Yes.
We're not at standing room only, but however, we do have a lot of partners and we have a lot of people that support Imani Temple.
Right.
But I'm with Pastor. We'd like to see more folks from our community to attend the Imani temples because together, some of the impact that you guys made in reference to Holy Rosary could still be done now, and our community still needs a lot of help. So, Pastor John, if you'll pick up where Archbishop Stallings left off and let folks know how long you've been pastor here.
Right, so with the blessing of God, Archbishop appointed me here in 2011 to become the pastor here at Imani Temple 49. I agree with you about how it is that we have standing room only, but I come to realize recently that the growth of Imani Temple is not so much in the numbers as it is in our spiritual level. Sometimes you can have 5 people who are righteous and in one accord can get more done than 100 or 200 people. And I think that's the power of the Imani Temple. Of course, we want to inflect it because the more critical mass of energy that we have, the more we can do out in the community. The I am theology brought forth by our Archbishop, God has sent to us through him. It's so powerful that once our people understand it, digest it, and then we begin to apply it, we begin to start to, as you say, actualize what we realize. That's what's on the table right now. That's the point that we're at right now. We know that with all of the things that are happening in our modern day, 25 years after the Imani Temple was established, that many people question, how far have we come? And we say we've come this far by faith, how far have we come?
Right.
We know that at the time we started, the Ku Klux Klan was riding high, like are they still right now, even more vicious than ever. And we got to come to realize that as a people who represent only a portion of humanity, but we must do our part. And before we can help somebody else, we got to help ourselves and be who we are called to be. Our gifts as human beings are needed by everybody else, and as well as we need the rest of humanity's gift, that we can have that perfect kingdom of God that we all look for.
Right. You're right. You know, I do agree with you, but I also feel that, you know, in order for us to make that impact, it is to have more genuine filled people
Absolutely.
in our pews.
We definitely want to go.
We definitely want to do that, and that, I think, is probably one of the challenges we're faced with right about this time. So I think it's incumbent not only on you, Pastor, but me, you know, to see what is it that we can do to reach out.
But I'm excited about our laity. I mean, I think at Imani Temple 49, we have a very powerful group of people. I mean, so diverse, and so many of them are leaders. So once the fellowship out there understand what's here, I think we're on the cusp of something big.
And then not to mention just the new programs that, you know, Imani has going. You know, Imani's done quite a bit, even just this past year. You know, you want to tell the audience a little bit of some of the things that have been happening here?
You know, our community involvement is one of the hallmarks of Imani Temple. We've become to realize that as a universal church, it's not about only those in the walls, but everybody in and outside the walls. We are because I am, because we are, and we are because I am. We employ the Ubuntu principle, and knowing that we can't just think of ourselves in a selfish way. We have to think about our environment as well. So we have to give of ourselves. If we are to receive, the receiving comes in our giving. And we're going to give to this community, continue to give. I don't care what it takes. And we know that we're going to be blessed by the ministry that we've been called to. We've been, you know, especially has guided us well on activism. I don't know more prolific.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Victor White III.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think Imani was at the forefront of, you know, assisting, you know, Mr. White, you know, in his efforts, and we basically went out there and we were speaking, you know, on behalf of, you know, his family with him.
Right.
But, you know, letting the community know that it is okay to stand up for, you know, injustice, you know, and I think we're the ones that will set that road to let folks know that it is okay to do that. You don't have to be afraid to stand up. It's okay to speak.
Archbishop always talks that we are called to be a prophetic church.
Yes.
And we don't have to accept things as they are, but through God's imparted wisdom upon us, that we can see a greater vision. And his word today about just imagine.
You know what, I was just about to bring up the exact same thing. I was going to have you elaborate.
On the same track.
I was going to have you elaborate on that powerful, you know, sermon that you gave today.
Thank you.
Well, you did yesterday. I mean, I think since you've been here, you've been very inspirational to all of us. So can you just share about the Imagine? That was really powerful.
When I thought of the message to deliver to the faith community of Imani Temple number 49 on the occasion of its 25th anniversary of founding, as well as thinking of a larger message that goes far beyond the walls, the brick and mortar of Imani Temple number 49, but to all of our Imani temples around the country, and as well the Lafayette community and the Louisiana community, I thought of the title Imagine. because even though I did not mention it in the sermon today, but I've been talking about it for the
You
past
have?
3 or 4 days, that in the word imagine is image. And imagine all of us imaging the divine likeness of God. Imagine what this world would be if each one of us could understand that we are spiritual beings practicing to be human, not human beings attempting to become spiritual. Imagine if we could see that we hold the keys to the kingdom of heaven in our own hands, and that we can open or close that door that allow others to see the kingdom, or to shut it off so they can't see it. And also with those keys, we can also open up those doorways to economic opportunity, to political activism, to an educational system that not only speaks to the needs of our people, but also educates others who must interact and interface with us as people of color. So imagine, when I thought of that title, Imagine, I thought of John Lennon's, John Lennon,
Okay,
of course, other Beatles.
he didn't sing, he was about to, but.
I was tempted. But if we could imagine a world where not only we love God, but that love of God is made manifested by the way we love each other. What a wonderful, in the words of Satchmo, what a wonderful world this would be. And we hold it within our hands. We have the power to either create heaven or hell, for that matter. That we can actually, if we can imagine people like us who've taken ownership and control of their own destiny. Imagine people like us who are not afraid to speak truths of power. Imagine people who are willing to fight for the cause of justice. Imagine people who are willing to march even through hell for a heavenly cause. That we could change this world in a season, and none of us would be without, none of us would be lacking. It's not, just imagine if we as Christians could become like the early Christian community was, where no one owned anything, but everyone shared, brought it to the apostles and shared it in common. That's not a dream. If we can imagine it, we can make it happen.
You know, I have to tell you, okay, I don't think I'll ever listen to that song, Imagine, by John Legend, the same way again. You have put more emphasis and more meaning to it. You brought that spiritual aspect of it. I'd never thought about it until you actually said it.
Wow.
And that is one of the things I think is so powerful, you know, in your message.
Thank you.
You know, so that
Wow. Wow. You bring confirmation to what was my prayer, that we will begin to look at that song, the lyrics of that song, Imagine, in an entirely different way, and it really echoes what Imani Temple is seeking to become. A world where, you know, we can embrace each other in unity, in oneness. You know, I'm glad you mentioned that, my beloved sister Susannah, because I am at the point of having published my latest opus, my latest work, entitled Man in the Mirror, the Theology of Michael Jackson. You will love that book. If you thought you got something out of that sermon, Imagine, and then exposing the song by John Lennon, wait till you read this upcoming book.
All right. Well, you'll have to, you know, let me know when that is out. No doubt I can start off putting an excerpt in the, you know, previous magazine.
In fact, I'm going to do better than that. I'm going to do better than that. I'm going to email to you the manuscript so that you can read it and do some advanced work on publicizing. Now, imagine if advertising through your publication, you can interest people in the content of this book even before it hits the press.
Right.
I mean, if Omarosa can be, you know,
oh my goodness,
get publicity.
why do you have to go there?
Why do I
have to go there? All right, we'll leave Omarosa alone.
We'll leave Omarosa.
Yeah, we'll go back to
You can always delete this from the text.
No, I don't edit. It is what it is.
Oh wow!
So let it be.
Yeah, so Okay,
Thanks a lot.
all right, so yesterday we got some exciting news. Imani Temple got some exciting news, but officially the announcement was made today. Would you like to share that with the audience, the exciting?
Oh, I'd love to. We are excited here in Louisiana, in Southwest Louisiana, because here at Imani Temple number 49, we have the center of our movement of the African American Catholic congregation in the southern region. Imani Temple number 49 is not simply just one of our temples, but it is also a cathedral. And every cathedral needs a presiding bishop. And I can think of no better person who can fulfill that office than the current pastor of Imani Temple number 49, the then Father John W. Milton, who is now, excuse me, who is, I can get cough and cold, who is now Bishop-elect John Wayne Milton. He will be elevated, ordained to the office of bishop, the fifth presiding bishop of the Lafayette province of the African American Catholic congregation on Saturday, October the 27th, 2018, at 10 o'clock a.m. right here in Lafayette, Imani Temple number 49, located at 201 East Willow Street, and the entire community is invited to come and share our joy.
Okay, you guys just got your first invite. Okay, this is your first save the date, and we all know that we're so excited for Pastor Milton. I have to get into the habit of calling him Pastor.
I have to get used to it. Yeah.
Bishop.
Now it'll be Bishop, because he's such a good friend, but such a deserving person, because I feel that for as long as I've been knowing Pastor Bishop-elect John Milton, he's been an inspiration. I was telling someone, every time I talk about you to the extent that you're such an idealistic person. You're a visionary, you know, and that's why I thought, even as starting as pastor, you know, that you have a vision for what Archbishop Stallings sees for Imani Temple. You have that here in Lafayette, you know, so we're excited for you. Your family here is excited about that. So tell us, in your mind, how are you taking this wonderful news?
Then my wife said this morning, "Is it a dream?" I said, "I don't know. I clicked my heels and didn't wake up." So yeah, I'm very excited. I look off guard. You know, you never feel that you're ready, and I have to just trust my Archbishop that if that's what God has instructed him to do, I have to trust that that's where. And I have the faith that God will see us through. So whatever the new challenges that may come with the new office, I fear none. I know that we have a great work, and I know that what's going to happen, God has already ordained. So more importantly, I must confess that my reliance is also on the fact that I'm surrounded by such a great group of lay people and ordained clerics. Who understand the mission and vision of the ACC. They understand the issues of our society that we must deal with, and the new challenges that the church must confront. And so because of that, and always knowing that I can lean on the leadership of Archbishop Stallings when I'm a call away, I'm excited. I'm excited. That's all I can say.
That's great.
Right. And Susannah, I'd like to share with your viewing audience a very humorous side of the announcement to the bishop-elect that he had been chosen to be the next presiding bishop of the Lafayette province of the African American Catholic congregation. Of course, he's been busy for several months along with his spectacular leadership team, with his very competent temple administrator, Carnina, planning this event. And he was busy every day that I was here. He was busy Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, and then Saturday, just before we got ready for the banquet at the Esprit de Corps banquet facility, he was rushing to change his clothes because he had worked right up to the very last minute. But I had told him earlier during the day that I wanted to have a private moment with him up in the suite where I was staying that the staff, that the administration so graciously provided for me. And I knew he was exhausted. I mean, he was literally whooped, as we say, just almost burned out. So I caught him at a moment when he was at a point where he couldn't say no when I asked him if he would accept the appointment. You know, I know he couldn't. He was so tired he couldn't even think.
Yeah.
I caught him when he really couldn't think, where he couldn't say, "Oh well, I don't want to do this." No. And so all he did was just submitted. So I caught him at a moment when he was just worn out, and he graciously accepted the challenge, and it's all been uphill since.
Yeah. And even after he had a chance to sleep on it, of course we know Miss Tatiana is the one that had to put her blessing on him.
Sure.
And once she did that,
Oh yeah. She looked at me and said, "What can you do? What can you do about it? It's done."
it's done.
But I know she's always there. She's always been
she's
there.
always
She does more work at the temple than I do.
Yes, she does.
And despite her humility of not wanting anybody, she gets mad if I call her name. So people look at me and say, "Why didn't you give your wife some credit?" If I do, I'm going to hear when I get home. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
You know, humility.
And she's been like that. You know, she and I would talk about that, and once I was trying to just kind of help bring her out of her, not really her shell, but you know, just to let people know who she is. And once you guys meet her, she is such a wonderful and such an endearing person. You know, you've got to, if you've never met Tatiana Milton, you need to. She's absolutely wonderful, and she absolutely supports this man 110%. And then with that, you've got the leadership team. I'm looking at Carnina now,
Awesome.
Ryan,
Awesome
you know,
leadership.
Marcia. You know, you've got a great, you know, team. And I think that is one of the things that will help to make the difference in Imani moving forward, and us building a solid, you know,
we
a
are
solid
Imani.
congregation.
We are Imani.
Well, we are, yes.
That's right. We
So, you know, if you guys want to be Imani, then, you know, all you need to do is come by 201 Willow,
201 East Willow.
East Willow Street, 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Even during the week, because there's Bible studies. There's a number of things going on. If you're just passing down East Willow, you'll always see cars, and now that we're here now at the Harambe Center, you know, you can come out to the Harambe Center. There's always something going on. So stay tuned. I usually have a little tidbit of what's going on at Imani in the magazine. I'll have it under from the pulpit. Sometimes pastor doesn't know, but I'll take one of the readings and I'll publish that in the magazine, and you know, just wait to see if he, you know, saw it.
So people in life, yes, many of them still don't know who we are.
True.
They've heard all kinds of things. I don't know who told it to them, because it ain't true, most of it. But if they don't understand that we are an independent, autonomous, African-centered Catholic expression of the Christian faith, those 5 prongs, each one of those is a year study. All 5 of those, independent, autonomous, African-centered Catholic expression of the Christian faith. There's so much to learn, so much to be revealed, but what is to be revealed, God has already ordained.
Right. And how often say it, Bishop-elect Milton and Susannah, is that if you want to understand that definition, start from the back. I heard Bishop-elect Milton say that we are an autonomous Imani Temple, African American Catholic congregation. It's an autonomous, independent, African-centered Catholic expression of the Christian faith. Start from the back end of the definition to find out who we say. We are Christians. No question about it, we're Christians. But we're Christians who express that our faith in God through Catholicism, but a Catholicism that is African-centered. It goes back to its origins. Christianity, Catholicism, both of them are interchangeable around that same period of time, is of African origins, not European.
Right.
And we've decided to be independent and autonomous because we believe that we as people know best what is best for us than someone who is a zillion miles away trying to dictate what should be our relationship with God, you know, and how we can experience that in the way that we serve our community and live out the principles of the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa that we've also incorporated into our ministry, which is unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and on the foundation of faith, Imani.
Yeah, and I think most people in the community knows that, because surely Imani, on a regular annual basis, is always celebrating that.
Yes.
You know, and then the other thing I wanted to say too is that, you know, I like the fact that, you know, it's Catholicism is what I'll tell folks. I'm not as, you know, knowledge as you guys are about, you know, the transition there. But, you know, when I describe Imani Temple to folks who do not attend, you know, Imani, it's that, and they're Catholic, I'll tell them that it is in fact Catholicism.
Yes.
It has an African flair to it.
Yes.
And the other point I wanted to make to or reiterate is that it was African American Catholic priests that came together.
Right. Exactly.
Okay? African American
Roman
Catholic
Right.
priests
That's right.
that came together. Another time we can go into the depth
I like that.
of what happened there, you know, but you can see that it's nothing different. It's not bad.
at
It's
all.
not a cult.
No, it isn't.
You know, and I'm saying that
It's
because
freedom.
some people have thought that.
Really?
You know,
They say cult.
yes,
It's not a cult, but it's
not a cult.
But it's a culture.
it's a culture.
And our
Well, but
culture,
it's our culture.
Our culture is formed by our experience. This is why there's notion of being in the same boat. It doesn't matter how we got here, but we're all in the same boat now.
Right.
As people of color, African Americans, some people say to me, isn't it kind of racist? Y'all have an African American Catholic church. African American? Isn't it racist? I said, well, what church you go to? They said Catholic. I said, oh, you go to the Roman church?
You're Roman?
Are you
Are
Roman?
you
Most of
Roman?
them tell me, no, I'm not Roman. But you didn't call that racism?
Exactly.
Right, and they used to identify as Roman Catholic, but they
Yeah.
kind of dropped the Roman
So, yeah.
and just said Catholic.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
in the interim, they're still Roman Catholic.
And oriented in a Eurocentric mindset.
Right.
As if there are no other mindsets.
Exactly.
There are no African mindsets, there are no Asian mindsets, there are no Native American mindsets. There's a diversity of people in the world.
Exactly.
And every culture has a gift to bring to all of humanity. We should be able to bring our gifts.
Well, not only bring it, but celebrate it and
Absolutely.
accept it. You
Yeah.
know, because we don't accept it from ourselves, from each other.
Right.
You know, and I think that's why we're struggling, going back and forth.
Right.
You know, it's like, okay, John may have this particular talent. It's his talent.
Right.
Then we need to accept it and we need to embrace it.
Right. And it's amazing about that cult label is remembering one's ancestors, a cult. Even though,
Right.
even in the Roman Catholic Church, they've been calling on saints for years and don't even know them.
Right.
And that's almost idolatry.
Well, and-
idolatrous.
you
If
know,
you're calling
and-
out people you don't know.
Right, and I'm not talking negative about the Catholic Church because I still have family there,
Right.
and occasionally I may still attend. But they have gradually moved to wearing African attire.
Have you noticed?
You know, so
Gospel music.
gospel music, singing loud,
Right.
long songs. So they're actually starting to adopt many of the traits that Imani
Of
has.
course, yes.
So what does that tell you?
In fact, they've adopted what the Imani Temple has just in the invocation of the saints, since that was stolen from Africa in the first place. They've been trying to be African for 2,000 years and just don't realize it. So, I mean, what we are doing is trying to purify Catholicism, taking it back to its roots and saying that to be an authentic Catholic really is to celebrate its origins, to go back to its essence, its original form, and celebrate it in a very powerful way. So we are confident that what we're doing is of God. It is blessed by God, and it has brought, as you said earlier, it's brought us a greater knowledge of Catholicism. And also it has, through the educational process of Imani Temple, AACC, we have come to take greater ownership and control over our spirituality, over our accountability and stewardship to God for this creation, and that we understand the words of our elder brother Jesus, who is also our Lord and Savior, of what it means to care for the least among us.
Right.
And we do it through our service to the community, and we challenge each other not to just simply sit on the pew, but to stand on the promises of God.
Right, exactly.
All right.
Amen.
Thank you.
All right. I think it's been wonderful having the both of you talk, and I think we could go on and on and on. But I know you have an airplane to catch, and that plane's not going to just sit and wait for you just because you're Archbishop Augustus Stallings Jr. But we might.
Who knows?
I could make a phone call.
Who knows, right?
I could make a phone call.
All things are possible.
Yes, exactly. All right. Bishop-elect Milton, that's when you get to say that properly. You have some closing comments you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, we just want to thank you for your work in the community and the work that you do with your magazine, The Southern View. It is a process of maintaining our history that many generations later will come to appreciate. We thank you for that. We thank, of course, Archbishop Stallings for being in the Lafayette area today and all week long, and for always being available to us to answer our calls when we need. We thank you for allowing God to use him and guide him. And it's so amazing when he brings in his spirit. Everybody wakes up. Our church gets full with Archbishop Stallings. Gotta get out here more often.
That does.
We'll be here in October for your ordination as a bishop.
All right. Would you like to give some closing comments?
I'm just deeply thankful to you, my beloved sister Susannah Johnson Malbreaux.
Thank you for getting that correct.
I want to get it correct. And the public service that you render through your publication and through your media outreach is very important to get the story out. And what I admire about you is that you want to get the story correct from the source itself, rather than hearing about it, reading about it from someone else, but getting the persons who are the origins of an institution come before you and get the answers. Thank you.
All right, thank you both. This has been another interview for the Southern View magazine. We will have this available on our website, and we'll have it transcribed, and we'll have it in the September issue of the magazine. But as normal, I always put our interviews out on YouTube, so it could circle the world.
Who knows?
You can share that with everyone. The other thing that's different, I just want to thank the folks in the audience. We have an audience today that happened to be here because we just scheduled the interview with Archbishop Stallings. So it's been wonderful being here. Thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.